Hey everybody, today's ramble is a good one. And what makes a good ramble? Well, for me, feeling passionate about the topic and going left where other people are going right, talking about something that other people don't normally talk about. Those are all, parts of the puzzle there. But yeah, I feel really good about talking about this subject. And what I'm going to talk about is I want to implore all of you who watch this video to not give money to homeless people directly. And here's why. Yesterday, Misty and I were driving around the front range of the mountains around Denver. We went from Morrison all the way up to pretty much Fort Collins, right? We were looking at what the properties around there look like, what the neighborhoods around there look like, homes that in other cities in Colorado would be around $150,000 go for like $1 million in Boulder. It's crazy when you see a house that has way less square footage than yours selling for $1 million, and it's basically the same cookie cutter style of house. It's just location, right? But along the way, especially in Boulder, we were seeing homeless people who were flying signs, and that's their term for the cardboard signs that say "Please help," "God bless," "Anything helps," you know. And one in particular pissed me off enough to make this video. The sign said, "Anything green helps." All right. So, little backstory, everyone. I am an addiction counselor here in Colorado, and yes, in Colorado, pot is legal, and we have a lot of tourism based on pot. People come to Denver just so that they can smoke pot legally, and then they go back to wherever they're from. And some of them decide to stay, but also we have homeless pot tourism, where there are homeless people who have gravitated towards the cities, the big cities, where they can get lots of pot for on the cheap or medical grade pot, you know, and they also can get a lot of handouts, a lot of infrastructure that's based on taking care of homeless people. And this is becoming a bigger problem in Denver. And being an addiction counselor that works on different levels of care, I can tell you that the problem is one where not many people are talking about it, but some people can't. So the people that have the best perspective on this can't talk about certain issues, either because it threatens their job if people start talking about the issues in that way, like say homeless shelters. They don't like their clientele to be stigmatized when they're trying to raise money for homeless causes. They don't want people to figure that there's a certain percentage of the people that they're helping that are only homeless because they want to be doing drugs on the street and they don't want to get a job, or they're only going to get a job if they don't have to take a piss test, right? Because they are in love with their drugs. So there's a lot of people who could see what I'm seeing who can't say anything about it because there are other people who are homeless who don't do these drugs, who don't choose that lifestyle. They are just in that circumstance, and that's who they're trying to help. Right? Actually, they're trying to help the homeless people with addictions too. Just throwing care. I get that, but from my perspective, working with different organizations regarding addiction, and most of the clientele that I have served were homeless, I can tell you that when I ask some of these homeless people who tell me that they are unemployed and don't even do day labor, where they get their money, they say, "Oh, I was flying a sign." Okay? And I can't talk about an individual that I saw, you know, that was my client across from me, on the other side of my desk, and then say that I saw that individual out on the street. I can't say that. That would be unethical. But I can tell you, in aggregate terms, you can see that the clientele of detox places, of addiction rehabs, of AA meetings, they really do correlate to homeless people who fly signs to get their money. And some of them will be as brazen as to say, anything green helps. Basically, please give me pot, and if you can't, give me money so that I can get pot. They will be that brazen. And there are other people who will, from better circumstances, give them money because they feel bad for them that in that moment they can't get that pot. And when it's as upfront as that, that's one thing. But for the most part, the people flying signs will have other messages on their signs that will try to entice you to give them money. The most common of which is, God bless. Right? If you are a Christian person, you should feel for the plight of people who don't have, so please give me money. And what are they doing with that money? Well, the better part of them are using that money to get drugs and alcohol. I can't speak about other large cities that I have not lived in and have not worked in and can't see from both sides of the coin here. The treatment side where I see that clientele, and then the streets where I see the same clientele. But, if you're looking for someone who can validate that fear that many people might have when they're pulling up to an intersection and they're seeing this person flying the sign saying, just lost my job, trying to get to San Francisco, all these things. If you're looking for someone to validate that fear that money that you might be giving to them will be going to drugs, I can tell you, most likely it is. Okay? There are other ways to help people. And if you saw somebody who said on their sign, "I'm hungry," you can pull off that off ramp that they're most likely at, and you can go to a Burger King or a McDonald's. You can get them a burger or something and hand it to them. Do not give them money that could be used for drugs and alcohol. It's just a waste of your money, and it really does hurt society. They are able to prey on people's emotions, and they put themselves out there in your face in places where you cannot help but to see them. They will fly their signs at intersections where there will be at least enough backup that you have to look at them. You have no choice. They will use phrases that are short and to the point because you cannot help but read something that has 7 words or less. Your mind will immediately read it before you have a choice whether or not to read it. Okay? They know these things. They are manipulative, and they are putting themselves right in your face, wearing tattered clothes even that they don't have to. They will not make themselves look good when they're flying these signs because they don't want to look good. They want to look poor. The only thing I can't really validate as far as these fears from my perspective is there is one fear that's kind of, it's a strange kind of conspiracy theory that there must be some guild that tells different people to stand at different street corners, because there are street corners that every day you will see a different person flying a sign. And it's as if each one of these is assigned in a randomizing way so that you don't see the same person there all the time. And I've heard that there might be, just jokingly, there might be this guild where they all come together and they're like, okay, you take, First and Colfax, and you take Van Buren, and you take this exit on I-25. It does seem that way. It seems so pervasive that there has to be some intelligent design behind it, but it could just be that people who are flying signs know which kind of intersections to go to, and they know that people are not likely to give them money 2 days in a row, so they just themselves pick different places. But for the most part, I can tell you that it's a bad idea to give anyone money without knowing what that money is being used for. Most likely, it's going directly to drugs and alcohol. So stop it. If we all just stopped it might become something where they find something else to do rather than stand at intersections and make us all feel those feelings that will arise, whatever they are. For me now, it's more of a upset, anger, and frustration, but for many, it's just a down feeling of, I don't want to see this, and trying to look away and trying to pull their cars up to where the blind spot from that one part of between your window and your windshield, the part of the car right there, you want to line that up with the homeless person so you don't have to look at them. That all of those situations, we could have a lot less of them if people quit giving in and quit handing money to people without knowing where it's going. I'm telling you right now it's going to drugs and alcohol. Most likely. And if you want to help that person and you feel like they're genuine, you can still find ways to do it. You could take them to a place that would give them services. Like if they say they're hungry and they're flying a sign and they're within 1 mile sometimes of a place where they can get food, like a soup kitchen, give them directions to it. Get them a McDouble. Do not give them money. It's a bad idea. You are just enabling someone's addiction.